What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel here on my Pirates podcast. My name is Nathan, and in today's episode, I have two different topics here for you guys. We're going to be talking Andrew McCutchen, if he will return or if he won't, and then the catching depth of this team, because let's be honest, I feel like not a lot of people are really talking about the catching depth. It's kind of bleak in my opinion, so there's a lot of questions. Let's just get right into it with Andrew McCutchen, though. This is kind of the big topic on Pirates social media right now, is if Andrew McCutchen is going to return to the Pittsburgh Pirates in the year 2026. And what's funny is right before I started recording, Andrew McCutchen posted a tweet kind of hinting at the frustration he might be feeling with like fans not understanding. So I'll just read this tweet out really quick. It is really funny how so many people say I can't keyword play defense. I haven't played much defense because they haven't asked that of me. The only reason I played a few games last year is because Reynolds needed a few arrests from a minor injury and I asked to play defense to get in the lineup. No one said anything then. Bottom line is if it is needed, I can not only do it, but do it like I've been out there all year. So stop creating false narratives and take to your wives or girlfriends out to dinner and get off the coattails of other men. That's weird energy. So clearly, I can take that as McCutchen is fine with playing the outfield, and personally, I'm fine with it too. Because let's just be honest, he only played a few games in the outfield last year, covering for Reynolds, like he just said in his tweet, and he did not play too bad. I thought it was good. I thought it was good enough. And there's an argument that fans have been having on social media. I've been saying, like, they shouldn't bring Kutch back because why should we pay money for a guy who's 39 years old? I don't care. People call him a mascot for the organization. I don't care what you want to call him. I think Kutch needs to come back. And, I mean, that's just my opinion. I'll probably get people on this comment and say, oh, nope, you're wrong. I mean, I got some of that with Cruz. I knew that was going to happen. But, yeah, like, Kutch is still a league average baseball player. He's league average. The Pirates need league average. He probably won't start, and I'm in the camp where I want Kutch back, but I think it's going to be harder to bring him back because I think he's going to want a role where he's playing a lot more. Because let's be honest, for 39 years old, his bat still plays in Major League Baseball as a league average bat. He hit .239 last year, a .333 OBP, is .367 slugging, an OPS exactly of 700, OPS plus of 95, 13 home runs as well, 57 RBI. Now, age 38 season is what it is. For age 38, $5 million, that's a $5 million baseball player. I don't know how you can argue it isn't. If Kutch is coming back for age 39 season, he does the same and gets $5 million, that is $5 million worth of value right there. A guy who's going to be an OPS plus around 100, an OPS around the 700s, your batting average within maybe 230 to 250. That's $5 million. He's giving you proper value for that money, okay? Now, let's just say this. He hits righty. We've seen it, and we know he can do it. And he's been doing it these last 3 years. He's been coming back. He's been able to hit. He's hit some milestones. He passed Clemente in the home runs. He hit his, I think it was like 300th, I think it was, last year with the Pirates. It was a big deal. Now, here's the thing with him that fans are kind of being subjective with. They're like, well, he's not going to want to take, why should we bring him back? We need to get better. Well, here's where I think the Pirates actually need to get better, and this is why you need Andrew McCutchen. So this kind of banks on him wanting to take that step back, because I don't know if there's really a starting role on this team. Because I'm looking at the Fanatics roster depth chart. And if you go to the Fanatics roster resource, you can use this tool for yourself. So here's the projected lineup they have. Horwitz at first, Brandon Lau at second, Reynolds in right, Ryan O'Hearn your DH, Nick Gonzalez, O'Neal Cruz, Jared Triolo, Jake Mangum batting eighth in left field, and Joey Bart. So where does Kutch fit in that? Well, that's against your righties, and they're going to have O'Hearn and Horwitz play both of those. Now, here's the thing. If O'Hearn plays over Horwitz against lefties, because O'Hearn can hit both of them, even as a lefty, he can still hit lefties unlike Spencer Horwitz. If you put O'Hearn at first base, Kutch goes to DH, or maybe they're going to want to put Brandon Lau at DH those days. This is where I've kind of been like, fans have been like, where does he fit? If he is willing to take that smaller role, which I'm not one to say what Kutch can do and Kutch can't do. I'm going to let him speak for himself, and clearly he has the talent. I do not play professional baseball. Heck, I don't even make money off of this. I just like talking about baseball and like listening to what fans have to say, and Personally, I think the best role for Kutch on this team is to be a veteran that's been there before. He's won before with this organization. He made it to the playoffs. He's a franchise icon. You cannot let a franchise icon, I don't care how old he is and like league average he is, you can't let him just finish his career 1 year off somewhere else. Like, this is like how I remember Joey Votto with the Reds. The Reds let Joey Votto go. Cool. He never played a single at-bat in the major leagues with the Blue Jays, his hometown guys up in Canada. That was a waste of time. Andrew McCutchen leaves. I do not want Andrew McCutchen ending his career like, imagine the Cubs. Imagine the Cardinals. Imagine going to Miami. That would be even weirder. Like, if he goes down to Florida, where he's from Florida, don't get me wrong. But, like, where does he fit, though? If you want to put him on the bench, here's why. Like, they need righties on this bench that are competent enough to be bench bats and you can trust in a very drastic situation. Let me just tell you this bench on roster resource right now. Henry Davis is your backup catcher, okay? He's not going to take over that spot because you need two catchers. But then you got Nick York, who had a negative .1 WAR last year. You can't really trust him. Justinson Garcia, another righty just like York and Davis. But here's the thing about Garcia. You can't really trust what he has yet. I like what he can bring, but he only had 9 plate appearances last year. I think Garcia, the password, is going to be starting the year in AAA, barring some crazy legacy run in spring training. And then fan favorite, your lefty on the bench is Jack Sawinski right now. Jack Sawinski worth a negative half WAR, negative .5 WAR. So the only player, literally every bench player besides Justinson Garcia, who had a WAR of 0, is in the negatives. Henry Davis with a .1, Nick York with a negative .1, Jack Sawinski with a negative .5, a negative half. I would rather take Andrew McCutchen's sliver of a positive WAR onto the bench. Because let me go down to the outfielders that are on this minor league, like 40-man roster. Guys that you might be able to bring up that are depth pieces. Here's your pieces. Billy Cook, who only had 6 plate appearances last year, and in my opinion is not an answer. And Esmerlin Valdez, who is yet to play AAA baseball. Now, I'm a big believer in what Esmerlin Valdez can do, don't get me wrong. But he's still in AA Altoona. They put him on the 40-man. Cool. But you need to see what he can do in AAA. Billy Cook, on the other hand, we've kind of seen him play multiple appearances in the major leagues, and each time it has not been that good. I've not really been high on Billy Cook. The other guys, your non-roster invitees right now for spring training are Dominic Fletcher and Ronnie Simon. Ronnie Simon we saw last year, but like Dominic Fletcher, he had 34 plate appearances last year, hit a home run. Cool. He'll probably be like your Canario of the year. Don't get me wrong. I think Dominic Fletcher is a good league, lower-end non-roster invitee. But if Dominic Fletcher's getting more chances than Andrew McCutchen on this team next year, there's going to be issues. Andrew McCutchen still has value. I'm going to keep saying it. He still has value. Now, some people might not see that value, and I can understand where you're coming from. Clearly, it's like he's getting older. Yes, he is getting older. He's 39. It's going to be one of those things where if they make the play, here's the thing. Here's what puts it in perspective. If they make the playoffs next year, barring a miracle, okay? If they make a wild card run and McCutchen is on the team, his birthday is on October 10th. He will be turning 40 during October next year. Imagine. I think this is McCutchen's last year playing baseball. This would be 4 years and a return with the Pirates, a 4-year return there. 1-year deals every single year. And if he finishes off, goes swan song into the playoffs, at least gets the Pirates there, helps him get there in any role, shape, or form he gets, he cements himself. He already is on my Pirates Mount Rushmore, but if he already isn't on your Pirates Mount Rushmore, he probably joins it. Now, there isn't really that big of a Mount Rushmore, but clearly he's on a lot of people's Mount Rushmore, especially my generation. I'm only like 24, and people are in the comments like, you're only 24, you haven't seen that much. What can you say? Well, he's on my Pirates Mount Rushmore because he's kind of my entire childhood. And I'll let the nostalgia take me on a ride here because McCutchen, I need him on this team. And like I said, I'm not one that knows I'm not going to tell McCutchen what he should and shouldn't do. Clearly, what I just read his tweet, he wants to play. He says, I can play the outfield. He looked pretty fine in the outfield, in my opinion. And that's something people say with his age, he can't do it. Throw him in right field. He was making catches along the Clemente wall when he took over for Brian Reynolds. So, if McCutchen is a bench bat, that is a great ad. They need a lot more righties on this bench that are like competent enough hitters. You can't trust Nick York. You definitely can't trust Jack Sawinski even though he's a lefty. You need to upgrade that. If Jack Sawinski is your opening day fourth outfielder, now that's cause for concern because this team desperately needs to add some competent depth. It doesn't have to be superstars. I know everyone wants Eugenio Suarez, but I think with all the Suarez talk, we have forgotten that this team lacks a lot of depth. The bench is literally Henry Davis, Nick York, Josinson Garcia, and Jack Sawinski. There's no depth that you want, like you can believe in. And let's be honest here too. This team has had a pretty solid offseason adding Brandon Lowe and Ryan O'Hearn. Spoke my praises. Gregory Soto too. Jake Mangum, Mason Montgomery. Great offseason. They're still not at $100 million. They're still cheap. They're not spending money. If they get over $100 million or push 110, then we might be able to start talking and saying like, oh, this team's actually trying. I can say they are trying and doing this, but Bob Nutting hasn't opened up the pay books. He hasn't opened up his checkbook at all. Sure, they got Ryan O'Hearn for 2 for $29. Awesome. They're still below $100 million. They need to open up the checkbook. And I think if they actually sign McCutchen, I think they might put him at $100 million. I think they still need to sign a veteran left-hander to add to this rotation because I'll talk about rotation another time, but like the rotation is literally Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller, Braxton Ashcraft, Bubba Chandler, Carmen Mlodzinski is your projected 5-starter. And we've seen how he's done Mlodzinski in the starting rotation, all of which are right-handed pitchers. Braxton Ashcraft, Bubba Chandler have never thrown a full major league season, and Ashcraft does have injury issues, so that's why I'm kind of happy they've kept Mitch Keller because he is a durable arm. Now, they need to add a left-hander, but we're going to save that. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about McCutchen returning? Do you think it should happen? Do you think it will happen? And even then, Pirates Fest is this weekend. Do they bring back Andrew McCutchen before Pirates Fest? Or is it all up in the air in our management answering questions from the fans saying, like, where is McCutchen at? So let me know down in the comments below what you think. But let's move on to the catching depth. The catching depth is something of this team that I desperately think the Pirates should have addressed or maybe looked at. And I had a couple comments on a YouTube short I made saying, why would they get catcher? That's stupid. They already have 4. Well, here's your 4. Joey Bart, Henry Davis, and the other 2 on the 40-man, Rafael Flores Jr. and Endy Rodriguez. Let's just say this here. I'm just going to read out their OPS and WRC Plus if they have one projected and their WAR because I'm on the Fangraphs roster resource. I don't want to go on Baseball Reference and type Rafael Flores or Endy Rodriguez numbers because there's not a lot to look at. Joey Bart and Henry Davis are the 2 we're kind of going to talk about the most here. Joey Bart, right-handed hitter, started out really slow last year. We can be honest. A lot of ground balls. A lot. Joey Bart is your projected starter. He had a 1.3 WAR last year, and it's funny, the second half of the season, he kind of woke up a little bit and got his stats to league average. And last year was definitely a step back compared to what he did in 2024. Clearly a step back. Saw the dip in home runs, saw the dip in basically overall production. So 1.3 WAR last year, 332 plate appearances is a WRC plus of 101, an OPS of 696. That's your starting catcher, Joey Bart. Sub 700, but it's funny, OPS-wise, I'd say he's below league average. WRC plus-wise, he's literally right at league average. 1.3 WAR is what it is. And it's funny, let's talk about Henry Davis really quick, too, and then we'll compare what each of them do differently. Henry Davis, a negative .1 WAR. We covered this in the cut segment. 283 plate appearances, a WRC plus of, 41, and an OPS of 512. Looking at both of their K rates, Henry Davis with a 26.9, so let's just say 27. Joey Bart with a 28% K rate. Walk percentage. A walk rate for Henry Davis is 6.4, Joey Bart with a 12. Both of which struck out a lot, both of which not a good OPS. You could say Bart league average, but Henry Davis a 512, that cannot play. WRC plus wise, a 101 for Bart, a 41 for Henry Davis. Henry Davis put up those numbers in 283 plate appearances. Also, Henry Davis is a first overall draft pick. That's not good. Let's just say that is not good. I believe Henry Davis can do good things. And we saw it last year. He took the steps with the defense. That is something Henry Davis does that Joey Bart does not do well. Defense. And what's funny, I know we've all seen the stats. I don't have it in front of me, but I've seen it on social media. The team's ERA is better when Henry Davis is catching. Henry Davis also appears to be the Paul Skeens' personal catcher. Basically played with him in AAA. I think it was, AAA he would have been there because Henry Davis kept going up and down. But, like, he's been Paul Skeens' catcher. Paul Skeens clearly likes throwing to Henry Davis, so Henry Davis is going to be on this team. It would shock me if he wasn't. And Paul Skeens is probably going to have a say in who his catcher is. I would definitely let the best pitcher in baseball, a Cy Young winner, a Rookie of the Year winner, let him choose whoever he wants as his catcher. I don't care. If Henry Davis is catching 1 out of 5 days or 2 out of every 5, cool. Once a series, whatever. Just make sure he has Paul Skeens. But clearly, this pitching staff does a lot better, stat-wise, when Henry Davis is catching. It doesn't make sense. I clearly don't get it. I don't know if they have a preference. I don't work for the team. I don't talk to anyone on the team. I don't have sources. So I wish I did. But let's just be honest. It's crazy how it all works with this catching room. Let's go down to the depth, though. 2 guys in AAA. Endy Rodriguez, we'll talk a little bit first. Injury prone, 57 plate appearances last year. In those plate appearances, he had a 496 OPS. It was not a great start of the year for Endy Rodriguez, who missed the previous year with an injury he got in the Winter League. And then this past year, he had that nerve injury, and it just, he missed the entire year, basically. It has not been a great start for the young Endy Rodriguez. He is now 25. He's going to be turning 26 next year. It was funny. Endy Rodriguez was one of the prizes of the Joe Musgrove trade, I think it was, a 3-team deal with the Mets and the Padres. And he looked like he was like a top prospect in this organization. He looked like he was going to be really good. I remember going to the one series where they gave out the David Bednar bobbleheads that sang Renegade. They were playing the Phillies. Endy Rodriguez got the most hype, like, triple I've ever seen. Brandon Marsh missed it. He dove. Endy Rodriguez just went to the races. And we were going nuts. And I was like, this is the answer. I went to AAA opening day, I think it was 2 years ago in Indianapolis. Says we were out when the Reds were hosting the Pirates for opening weekend. We went to the Indianapolis Indians to see him play a game. Endy Rodriguez hits a leadoff home run. I'm like, this dude's the answer. I got him to wave at me and everything. Like I was bought into Endy. I sadly don't know if I'm bought in anymore. I think it's just the injuries, and this just goes to show the catching depth might need to be explored a little bit, because the other guy you have is Rafael Flores Jr., and he is the prize of the David Bednar trade. In 17 plate appearances, he had a 627 OPS. I'm not one to judge Rafael Flores too much right now, but he is 25. He just turned 25 years old. He still has 3 options or whatever, so it is what it is with him. Do you really think Rafael Flores Jr. can be the answer? A lot of people are kind of subjective about his defense. If he's your third catcher out of camp, I liked some of the at-bats he took in the major leagues in his little stint with the Pirates after getting traded in the David Bednar trade from the New York Yankees. But is Rafael Flores Jr. an answer that you can really say, like, I am comfortable in? Now, whenever you go to look at the MLB, like, Spot Track free agents, so you go to Spot Track, you can just look at all the free agents, and I just want to take a look. I'm going to pull up the catchers really quick, because there's not a lot of guys where it's like, oh. And the one guy I think a lot of people were looking at was Victor Caratini, who went to the Twins, and he kind of like gave that vibe like, okay, you could start him or you could back him up, and he had a great year last year. Here's your best catchers on the market. Mitch Garver, who's 35, Christian Vasquez, Jonah Heim, who was DFA'd by the Rangers earlier this offseason, Tom Murphy, Elias Diaz, Gary Sanchez, MJ Melendez, Reese McGuire, Austin Barnes. There's not a lot of depth options there either. I think the Pirates have put themselves in a corner, and they have committed to this catching room. And I can give them a lot of props for committing to these players that they clearly believe in. And this organization does a lot of wrong compared to right. I'm kind of in the market of, like, they're looking at catcher a little bit wrong. It's a position, like, everyone's talking third base. Everyone's talking, okay, we got our outfielder. Everyone's talking about bringing Andrew McCutchen back. This catching room has gone under the radar with this fan base. I think, in my honest opinion, it deserves a lot more talking about because, like, this whole premise with the McCutchen return and why I want him back, they desperately need to add depth to at least the bench. They need to. They clearly do. Henry Davis can be your backup catcher, and I think he'll be on this roster, but he can't be giving you a 512 OPS and a WRC plus of a 41. That's around Ke'Bryan Hayes level. I think that's worse than Ke'Bryan Hayes level. You already had WRC pluses in the lineup last year of 86, 82 with Nick Gonzalez, 86 with O'Neal Cruz, who we talked about last episode, and 86 with Jared Triolo. And those three were all, they're projected your 5, 6, 7 guys. Brian Reynolds had a WRC plus of 99, but we've seen him do it in the major leagues before. Jake Mangum, who's projected in the lineup, he had a WRC plus last year of 95 and a 698 OPS, but he's just a singles guy. He's not going to give you a lot of pop. This team desperately needs depth. Victor Carantini would have been very solid depth, in my opinion, for the catching room. And maybe you could have moved on from a Joey Bart, because I'm kind of surprised Joey Bart is still here. I remember I had Noah Hiles on it was a week's worth of episodes ago. We were talking, he said literally, I think it was last offseason around spring training, the Texas Rangers were a team that were interested in a Joey Bart. We've seen, I think Robert Murray has said the same thing, like Joey Bart is a guy that the Pirates could move and teams have been interested in. He was a guy that teams were interested in last year's trade deadline. I'm surprised Bart got arbitration and he's still hanging around. Like, honestly. This is not against Joey Bart, but I'm kind of surprised the Pirates haven't moved on from it. He's cheap money, but I don't know if that's the cheap money I want to be spending. I'd rather go out and get a known commodity that can at least hit you 10-plus homers. Joey Bart struggled last year. You need better stuff from him. He hit 9 home runs. He hit 4 last year. He's projected 9 this year. You need some pop in this lineup, and you need to add some to the bench. So, that's all I have for us today. I feel like it was a shorter episode. It might have been around 20 minutes. But yeah, wanted to talk Andrew McCutchen if he should return or not. I think he should. I know I'm going to get some people in the comments saying, no, you're wrong, is what it is. You angry Yinzers, you angry Yinzers. And then catching depth. Let me know. I feel like the catching depth is something we can talk about even more, because I do want to do a thing leading up to maybe spring training or like during spring training, talking about the depth of each position. We'll cover catchers, the infield in whole, so first, second, third, and short. We'll talk outfield for an episode, and then the overall starters and maybe bullpen all in the same video or in like separate episodes. Starters and then the bullpen. This has kind of been a boring couple weeks ever since the week of Christmas Eve and Christmas. Like, let's be honest, they haven't really done much. I think we're all waiting for McCutchen to re-sign, go somewhere else so we know, go get some more depth. Like, I'm waiting for the inevitable Yohan Moncada signing to be our everyday third baseman, because like I think that's where they're gonna go. Personally, I think it's going to be Yohan Moncada, as much as I don't really want Yohan Moncada. Even like we talked, my last episode was the third baseman. Actually, no, it was Cruz, but the third baseman episode that somehow got like 1.7K views. I don't know how, but thank you. Willie Castro was an option. He just went to the Rockies for 2 years. There goes that option, even though it wasn't my favorite option. They're running out of time for third base. And like I'm planning on also, this is kind of a announcement, and not a big YouTuber or anything, but I'm going to be planning on attending Pirates Fest on Saturday. So they're going to be having probably the management Q&A. I kind of want to try making a vlog. I got these like wireless mics I've been using for some shorts, try to make some more shorts content, barring time I have. Now the Steelers season done, work might be as light as it can be. So yeah. So I'm going to try to make a vlog there, probably do some stuff for the North Shore 9 guys there as well. I'll also be going to spring training with the North Shore 9 guys. I am really pumped. I've never been to spring training ever before. It's always been on my Pirates fan bucket list. And I'm going down for a week, so probably make some content down there, some short stuff. I have a fun idea for a Pirates Fest. I want to make a YouTube short opening up a mystery ball and saying like, oh, who am I going to get? And it'd be like Alexander Canario. I think that would be really fun. But yeah, let me know any ideas for like Pirates content you want down below. I know I used to make a lot more MLB stuff. I just really haven't been finding the time or like the want to look up topics to talk about. Like I like talking about the international guys. Okamoto Imai already signed. I already made a video on that. I don't really know what really to cover. If you have any Pirates ideas, though, let me know in the comments down below. If you have any guys you want to try to reach out to, like reporters, I know I had Beasley on, Hiles on, and a couple of the North Shore 9 guys on. I might try to bring some of them on again, but I know we had Murphy on during the draft stuff. But like, let me know some guys you might want to see on the show or see more of, or any ideas of topics. Please let me know, because I need topics to talk about as a one-man show. But thank you all, as always, for watching. Subscribe down to the channel down below. We're about halfway to 500. That's awesome. Wasn't expecting to get this little spike in subs. Make sure to comment down below your thoughts, opinions, everything in between. Yeah, leave a like, subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching. As always, let's go Bucks.